In this tutorial, I'd like to show you how to finish building out your 5-page website. I'll talk about a few things related to usability and creating new pages, and also optimizing and resizing images. So if you followed along with last week's tutorial where I built this really simple 2-page website with a home link, a separate page, and an image, if you're comfortable with that, then what you're watching right now is going to be very easy, and you can probably do this without a tutorial. But if you struggled the first week or two getting this working, then you want to pay attention here, and I can show you some tricks and things to make this go quicker when you're developing a full site. The first thing I would recommend here is that you get your index.html as close to final as possible, because you're going to be using this code to build the other pages, whether you do a file save as and save as the other HTML pages, or if you just copy and paste into a blank HTML file. Either way, it doesn't really matter how you do that. The point is, the more code you get in here into the home page, the less you're going to have to put in the other pages, because this is used as a kind of a template for your other pages. So for example, what I would recommend here is that you get your links and your menu in here before you save as the other pages, whether or not you have them created. So if I type in my code here around my second page, so we'll say this is trumpet, and we're going to say that the page is going to be called trumpet.html. Now I don't have a page called that yet, but I'll go ahead and create it. So if I did test this out, it's going to be broken, but that's really no big deal. I can fix that by creating a new page really quickly. Okay, so it looks just like that. And then you might want to do that for your other ones as well. So really quickly here, I'll put in, so that one's going to be called cars.html. And again, this tries to be smart, and I'll get some duplicates there. And then I'll finish out one more here. So you get the idea of what I'm trying to do. So there's what my menu looks like here, and I'll go ahead and save this and go over here and refresh it. So you can see that these links are all active now, but they don't work because there are not pages named what I put in there. So my next step would be to probably go ahead and create those pages. Now note about usability with your menu here. You might want to put a home link on there, just not active because you're on the home page. But basically on the pages that you are developing here, the link to the page themselves would be deactivated. So for example, if I go to the piano.html page, the home link would be active, but then I would just have the word piano here and no link, because you don't need to keep that link active. That's a good usability practice. Helps your user see where they are in the website. I'll show you what that looks like. So before I do go on and create all the other pages and get this site working exactly right, I will fix this image because it's too large. So let's just use the free image optimizer online, and then if you do have Photoshop, that's going to work better for you. So you can do that. I'm not really going to go much into Photoshop here, at least in the beginning of the semester. I'll get into it on the end a little bit. For now, I'm just going to use something that everybody would have. This is imageoptimizer.net. I'm going to choose my file. So I'm navigating to my Project 1 website here, and images, and I've got another image in here from my second page of piano, and that one was already small to begin with, so I'm in good shape. What I'm doing here is just to resize the image and optimize it so it's not too large. So if you look at the file size, you want to start paying attention to this as a web developer. You need to be conscious of your file sizes. 1.6 megabytes for one image is too large, it's too big. And 31K here, that's actually pretty small. That's 31,000 kilobytes, and you don't have to go that small. But something in the 100, 200K would be acceptable for a decent sized image on your home page. You can go smaller than that. Point is, you just want to make sure that you downsize it. You're not putting in photos directly off a digital camera or high resolution photos. Unless you're using it as a background or something, you might need higher quality. But I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. It should be a JPEG. And let's just say that I'm going to go quality, normal. And then let's say my max width on this one is going to be 600. And I'll go ahead and optimize now. And it should keep the, it's going to keep the width and height aspect ratio correct. So see what I have here, it's optimized. 321K seems a little large. You could probably get that smaller with Photoshop, but that it's working the way it should. And it's 600 by 749. It's still a pretty large image, but it's going to work for this demonstration just fine. And I'm going to click download to my computer. Here it is. And then what I'll do is just move it back in and replace the original, or you could rename the original and move it out. One thing that I do not want to see is if you are optimizing your images like this, I do not need the original image, because that makes your zipped file, your zipped folder, too large when you're uploading it in Blackboard. So get rid of your original images off of your digital camera or that you download, and just put your optimized images in there. For the first couple projects, I'm not going to be too concerned about your file sizes, but it is something I want you to start paying attention to. So I'm dragging now the optimized building over here, and I'll probably rename it. So I'm going to drop it in images. Okay, so it's called optimized building. I'll get rid of this other one, or I could put it in a different folder or rename it. And now I'll just go ahead and rename this one building.jpg, and we'll see what happens here. Now, one thing that you want to note is the size of this, 600 by 749, is the new optimized size. So that means over here in the width and height, I would need to change this to 600 by 749. And now I should be good to go. I should have an image that fits a lot better in here. Don't need that anymore. I'll refresh, and there it is. So that's optimizing your image, resizing it, fitting it in there a little better. Now to finish out this tutorial, what I'll do is go ahead and create all the other pages. Now I already have the piano.html, but maybe what I want to do is take this menu here and copy and paste that since it's all done. So I'll highlight it, I'll do a copy, and then I'll come over here to piano. Now I do already have a home link in there, so I'm just going to replace these links right here, and I'll paste. Alright, and let me do a little adjustment here. I don't need that home link because it's already in there. And when I mentioned deactivating the link of the page that you are on, notice I'm on piano.html. I really don't need a link to the page that I am on. So just take that out. Looks just like that. Do a file save. And then I'll come over here, refresh again. And here's what a typical link is going to, or menu is going to look like. I do need to put in that little vertical bar here right after that and fix it. Okay, and now a couple of things with usability. What I did here is really not great practice to put the title and then a dash and then the subtitle of the page. What you would be better off doing here is keeping your main site title on every page. So if I'm creating a site called Drew's Hobbies, then what I might do is return, let me put an HR, just a horizontal rule to separate some things, and then let me put a subtitle here. I'll do an H3, and that's where I would put piano, and then I might put, then I might put another HR there, and then one underneath the menu just to kind of separate things out. Again, when you're first new to developing sites like this, you're not going to have a lot of layouts. You're mainly just practicing with the code to see what it's going to do. So here's what this looks like. It doesn't look great, you know, I understand that, but it's you get the idea. So you're going to have a main site title, and then you're going to have a subtitle underneath that, and then the menu. Actually, what would make more sense here probably would be to have my menu, or have this, have the subtitle. I'll just cut this, and I'll put it underneath the menu right here. And maybe take out some of these HRs. So I'm just experimenting here a little bit with what this looks like. And there we go. And now let's put an image in underneath this, and we'll put in a new paragraph just to give it a little bit of space. I'm going to say IMG SRC stands for image source equals, and in this case we are looking for a picture called piano, and there it is, .jpg. And then we need to close that, and then let's save it and refresh. So this page is now done, and this is what you would want to duplicate for the other pages. It would probably be easiest to do it that way and then adjust the menus. So that's how I'll finish out this tutorial. So let me do one for a new page for the trumpet, and then I will skip ahead and finish it out without showing you that, so that it saves some time, so it's you don't have to see the same thing over and over again. So if I want to go ahead and do the trumpet page, I'll go ahead and make sure I save this, and let's just say I'm going to create it based on this. I'm going to do a file save as, and what do you name it? Well, it depends on whatever you put in the HTML menu already. In this case, I put trumpet.html. You have to make sure when you are saving your files that they're all lowercase, no spaces. That is going to cause you the least amount of problems, so if you're trying to troubleshoot. So all lowercase, no spaces, I'll save it in there. Now it looks exactly like the piano. That's confusing, obviously, so what you're going to want to do here is change some things about this page. So I'll say trumpet, and I'm going to take off this image here for now because it doesn't make sense to have the piano here, and I'll just put a placeholder. I'll say trumpet image goes here, so I would get an image later on. And then let me fix this menu here. Most of it is correct, but obviously we would not need the link to the trumpet page here because that's the one we are on, so I would take that out, but we would need the link to the piano, so we would do the ahref equals piano, so we're going back to that and putting that in just like that. So now let's go ahead and check that, and then I'll show you the completed version of this site with a couple other images in it. Refresh. Alright, so now I'm at the home, piano, trumpet, so I can go back and forth between those three. So notice here just a couple things. The home page does have the home link in it. Now the reason I did that is because you want your menu to stay exactly the same on every page. You do not want to take away the name of the link entirely. You don't want the menu to jump around in position. It's usability. You know when you navigate a website, you like the menu to stay exactly the same. So all you do is you just deactivate the link of the page you're on, just like that. So that's good usability practice. Now I did mention that this site is pretty basic and it doesn't look very good, but there are some things you could do to make it look quite a bit better with basic CSS formatting, and we'll talk about that in the next few tutorials. But for right now, this is where you need to be. You need to be able to create multiple page websites here, links, some basic usability, playing around with the headings, the links, the images. So what I'll do here is skip ahead so you can see the completed version of this website. Okay, so I have the site completed here. I'll show you the setup and the final product. So first of all, looking at my text editing program, if yours has a little menu on the left hand side showing you what files you have open, it's nice because you can easily switch to any of your HTML files. Now if you're using Notepad, you'll just open them up one at a time. You want to pay attention to which file you have open. So they all look pretty much the same with slight differences in the menus and the content. The folder looks like this here. I've got now 5 HTML files plus the images folder, and I've got 5 images there. What I'm showing you here is very close to completing the requirements for your next project, the bigger 5-page website project, where you're doing 5 different pages and images and content on every page. This would be very close to completing it. I think there are 1 or 2 more requirements. Here's what the site looks like. You can see as I switch through here, the links stay exactly the same, or the location of the menu and the links, and then deactivated. The links are deactivated on the page that I am on. And then here's the trumpet one with the picture. There is the cars. You can see all I'm doing is just switching headings and then switching pictures around. That's what I want you to do. Note that you have a main site title that stays on every single page. So this is just basic usability when you're looking at this. And I know the site is simple, but it's one of those things that you have to start somewhere, and you really, I think, learn a lot completing a site like this, even though it doesn't have a whole lot of layout and design to it, but it does show you how to develop a 5-page website with links and good usability, and getting used to some of the basic HTML tags and attributes and things. So let me know if you do have any questions on this. I think the only thing I see that I didn't put in would be the width and height on images, which you really don't necessarily have to put in there since the browser does read that. It's good practice to put in the width and the height, but the browser does read the correct width and the height of the image. You can see as I put in here, but it would be good practice to put that in. That's about the only thing I can see that I forgot. And let me know if you have any questions on this site, and that's going to be it for the tutorial on finishing out the 5-page website with content and images.